Hey everyone, welcome back. And if you are just now tuning in, don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe, and yeah, I would be greatly be appreciated, and I appreciate all of you tuning into my channel. But besides that, like to talk about my topic today is about ear stretching. Um, what what to do when stretching your ears and what not to do when stretching your ears, pros and cons, that sort of thing. When stretching your ears, you first have to wait till you get your ears pierced, and your ears pierced have to be, when you get your ears pierced, you have to make sure that it's fully healed before you try to go ahead and stretch your ears. When your ears get pierced, they start at 18 gauge. When you stretch your ears, you have to always start with 14 gauge, 14 or 12 gauge. And when first time I got my ears stretched, it was 14 gauge because my gauge was 18, since my ears were pierced and they were slightly stretched from the earring, but not exactly stretched. And the first time I got my ears stretched was when I went to the body piercer to have them do it, since I didn't know nothing about. I didn't know I can do this myself. I didn't realize I could do this myself. I've heard people that did their own piercings themselves, stretched their piercings themselves, but I didn't. But I was cautious, and the body piercer himself told me, yeah, you can go and stretch your ear yourself. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. So guess what? I went online and gotten the ear stretching kit, and I just started stretching myself. And when I stretched, it was 12 gauge then, and from then on, it was really addictive. It was fun too. It was really addictive. But I was also cautious too, because I didn't want to end up with blowout or my ears infected or anything like that, because I seen how people gotten blowouts and their earlobes got ripped, especially got ripped because they stretched too fast and because they couldn't wait. It was taking too long, I guess. They were anxious, very anxious to get to a certain gauge, to a certain size. Me, I wasn't worried about getting to a certain size really quick, but I would still wanted to get to that size. Like my goal was 7/16 at the end of the day. Then later it was, because I have such small ears and such small lobes, so I didn't want to stretch too big. So I was just like, I'm going to stay at 0. Once I got to 0, I was like, I think I'm gonna stop here. Then later I went stretched to 00. So I stretched to a 00, and then I was like, maybe not even a couple of weeks later, but maybe almost a month later, not quite a month yet later, but I decided I wanted to go to a 1/2 inch. So this is where I'm at now, is a 1/2 inch. But when stretching your ears, you first want to get lubricant. And it could be any kind of lubricant, like personal lubricant is best. I've seen some people stretch with Vaseline. I don't think that's a good idea with Vaseline, because since Vaseline it can dry out. Best thing to do is use lubricant, some kind of lubricant. Then another thing to do is get some stretch. To stretch is get some tapers. And these are, I'm not sure exactly what size these are, but this is what they look like when you're first starting out. And then when you getting bigger, um, I'm not exactly sure what size these are right now, because I don't have the gauge wheel, but this is what you would go start off with, as far as when you get to the bigger sizes. And when you stretch and use tapers, you always have to use stainless steel. It's best to use stainless steel. You don't want to use acrylics like these, because it's not good. Don't ever try to stretch with acrylics, because that can affect your ears. Your ears can get infected, and you could also end up with a blowout, easily getting a blowout. So it's best to stay away from the acrylic tapers. Some people say don't use tapers, that's not good. I guess they use the taping method, which I don't know how you would go by using the taping method. I don't know how to do that. I have to research more as far as using the taping method. So my best bet would be to use the tapers for now. When I stretch to get to the bigger size, they go by millimeters too. In some places they go by millimeters. So ½ inch equals to like, I think 12 millimeters. Yeah, like 12 millimeters, which is not that much difference with a 00. As far as millimeters, it's only 1 meter difference. So what I did was, and I'm not going to suggest this to anyone, but I did was get one of these silicone tunnels and use those. And you just, how you would do it is they stretch out, they pop out. You ball, I don't know if I have it with me. I don't have it on me, but I hope I'm explaining it to you right. But you get the silicone tunnels, and how you would put them in, you just like twist them up and then put it in your lobe, and then they would just pop out. And that's how I did mine when I stretched my ears to ½ inch last time, which I don't suggest you to do that, because I don't know, you might like what you call stretching too quick, which, I mean, I waited though. My ears were healed by that time, but you always have to make sure your ears are healed. You have to always follow your body as far as what you should do and what not to do. When also you stretch your ears, you have if they start hurting like really bad, you stop and you take the tapers out. Take them out. It's best not to do it when your ears are hurting. They're not supposed to hurt really bad. You're supposed to feel very little or no pain. And no pain is really good too, because that means you're doing something right. And when you stretch your ears, you don't force it in there. You put it in there, and you put it in there slowly. You have to do it slowly. You don't do it real quick, because that's how else you can end up with your ears badly infected, or with a blowout even, or anything above, anything worse than that. Or you can even rip an earlobe out, which that is the worst case scenario. That means you would have to definitely go and get surgery done. But I'll tell you what you can do as far as if you do get a blowout. I never got a blowout myself, I'm glad, but I've heard some people, they rip their ear out even, because they want to get really big. They wanted to, as far as their size, they wanted to get really big to the, to like 4-inch and that sort of thing, and their ears couldn't take it. You have to make sure your lobes are able to take that size, as far as, are they able to stretch that far. I know my lobes are not able to stretch that far. I already know that because I have such little ears and little lobes. I mean, it can't, and I can stretch more if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I might later, but I'm not going to right now though. Simply because of the fact that I don't want to mess up my ears, and I don't want to end up having to have surgery, which is the worst case scenario, which costs a lot of money, and then your ears a lot of times might not come out exactly the same. They might come out looking half deformed, or just not the same at all. I mean, they look like an ear, but to other people that don't know you, I mean, to other people it might look fine, but to you, you can tell it's not the same. But yeah, you have to take precautions. And even especially when you're wanting to stretch your septum, like you get your septum pierced, the same steps goes to stretching your septum. Or if you have your lip piercing, like right here, and some people want to stretch it, I mean, same precautions is that you don't want to mess your body up. You want it to be nice. Like your lobes must be healthy like this. Like these are my lobes now, and I never had gotten a blowout. Never have. And that's because I was cautious, and I mean, some people are cautious, but then they still make the mistake of stretching their ears, and it's because they're either in a hurry to get to that size, or they just don't. Pretty much, they don't have patience. You have to have patience as far as getting to that size. Actually, when I was done, it took me about a year when I got to a zero gauge. It took me about a year, because at the end of the year I was like a 0 gauge. It was within a year. But yeah, but you just don't want to walk around with the coolest tunnels and plugs, and you have a blowout and your ears and messed up looking, or your lobes. I see some people, their earlobes are about to literally almost, they're thin like right here, and they're about to almost literally rip, which is not good either. That's not good. And if you do get a blowout, it's best to go down a size. That means don't use that big size, that size that you're wanting to go with, your goal. It's best to size down. When you do get a blowout, get jojoba oil, something like that. And soak your ears in like salt water. Just soak them in salt water. Also soak them in salt water. You can also get coconut oil too, and just rub your ears with it. But they have stuff online, especially on eBay, to help. eBay, Amazon, or anywhere like that, to help with blowouts. You can also Google it and look it up as far as healing a blowout. But jojoba oil, I think is what it is, which help with if you do get a blowout. And also, like I said before, soak your ear in salt water and continue to do that. That will help you. That should help you most definitely. When you stretch your ears, it's best to always clean them every time, especially when you like to wear those plugs and tunnels and they're acrylic, because I'll tell you about the acrylics as far as when you're wearing them. Have you ever heard of your ears smell when you wearing acrylic tunnels? Yeah, they will smell. So that's why else you want to clean them out every day. So clean your earlobes every day. And also during the healing process, when you're healing, you want to make sure your ears are nice and clean. So that way they'll heal well, too. And also, um, also when you start wearing your plugs and tunnels and stuff, and this is after your ears are kind of healed, kind of healed, it's best not to wear certain type of jewelry. I wouldn't start wearing the wooden plugs yet. The best ones to wear is either stainless steel or the glass ones. The glass ones are really good. What they call the glass plugs. Acrylic is when your ear is fully healed, like healed real well. It's not only fresh stretching, and this applies to your septum. If you want to pierce your septum or any other parts like your lip right here or anywhere like that, but stainless steel is always good, or if they said glass is the second best jewelry that you can use, that you can wear too. That's really good. So I hope this video helps you as far as when you wanting to stretch your ears, the pros and cons and the precautions you should take as far as stretching your ears, and what you should do and what not to do, and as far as what they call quick stretching, like jumping from one size to another, to a more bigger, like to go to from one size to 2 sizes bigger, 3 sizes bigger, which can also lead to blowouts, or even worst case scenario, ripping your ear out, where your earlobes, where you cannot do anything about it except for the only option is surgery, which that's not going to be good at all, very good at all. Thank you for tuning in, and come back next time. Bye.